AI is evolving fast. Are you ready? Meet AI at Flightbase, your weekly hub to learn, upskill, and stay ahead in AI world. Let's dive into today's session.
Hi guys, my name is Kanchi. I work in the founders office at Flightbase. I come from a marketing background, but as founders office at Flightbase, I've been taking care of a lot of different things. AI at Flightbase community was one of the first few projects that I worked on in 2025 when I first joined Flightbase. And over time, I have done multiple different things. I've jumped into talent marketing. I've helped out the marketing team. I now lead recruitment function end to end. And I have a lot of creative ideas that I keep sitting on. My Pinterest is full of things that I want to produce, from websites to graphics to videos. And thankfully, like now that we have the superpower of AI, it's all possible to do without like knowing technicalities of stuff, you know. So one of the major learnings for me creative on the creative front has been how to create production ready assets, be it graphics or videos, without any designer's help. And I recently made a video I was trying to hire for my own team recruitment. And I was, of course, like at Flightbase, with the kind of culture we have, we're looking for very different kind of people. And I wanted to launch a campaign around what kind of an HR are we looking for. It's not the typical HR that you think of, who has, all the great credentials, a Naukri certification and everything, but somebody who is a barrel, who can think of different ideas, be hacky about things, and find out exactly the kind of people that we are looking for. So in order to do that, I produced a video. It's 1 minute long video generated entirely with AI, and that's what I'm going to be presenting today. I am going to be opening up all my playbooks, all my hacks, all the tools that I have used in the process to build this. I'm super duper excited to share all of those things with you. And it'll be great to maybe understand if any of you have tried your hands on video generation before this, so that like I know that what kind of problems you faced while you started getting creative. You can feel free to drop them in the chat box, and I will, since the time has begun, I think the clock is ticking, I'll let Aryan share the AI news from last week before we move forward.
So I know most of you guys are eager to jump straight into the main session, and I will get there in just a bit. But just bear with me for a couple more minutes where I quickly share some of the interesting AI updates from the past week. And once that's done, I'll hand it over to Kanchi to kick things off with the session you all are here for. So just bear with me for a few more minutes. So the first news is from the Motion.so. It is basically an AI agent built specifically for tasteful, high quality motion graphic. So what it does, you just give it a prompt with context like your product links, videos, or your brand assets, and it's research on its own, like its storyboards. It generate explainer videos, launch videos, logo animations, or even creates a pro motion design to existing talking head videos. And they claim that it has a real taste. And even the video which have been published on the Twitter by the founder Advish, they claim that it has been built or generated using the Motion.so. So if this is the output, it is a stepping stone towards the motion graphics as well. So if you create videos or create a content related to marketing, you must check this out. Now, the second news is from the Grok itself. So Grok has launched their new video model, Grok Imagine 1.5. So they say now it's more capable of generating the videos, which follows all the physics rules, and the visuals look incredibly cinematic. Like in this video, which Ellen has shared, where it has intense battle, dramatic lighting, which clearly shows the physics part as well. So yeah, so if you haven't tried Grok Imagine 1.5 yet, you should try, as the quality jump is pretty impressive, and it's cheaper than other models like Cadence 2.0, which is the best model right now in the market, which gives the same kind of result but with a cheaper cost. So must give it a try. Now the third news is from the Motion Fly editor. So it's kind of an editor but an AI agent. This kind of editor used to exist, like if you might know Descript or a Capwing, which you just need to prompt it out and it cuts your videos, add the effects. But the one thing which they guys have improved is the copying any video style. So if you link or if you grab a screenshot and tell this agent, do I want to copy this kind of style and create this kind of graphics, it will generate so accurately, and even you can then edit those elements single-handedly, like their colors, everything from top to bottom. So they call this basically, they call that this is a cursor for video editing. So if you guys are been editing videos, or if you are a solo creator, you must try it out, and it might help you or might replace your video editor as well. Now the third news is from the Rev. So basically they have dropped their new model, which they claim is currently the best 4K image model in the world. So they have used the new layout based approach. So what it does in the backend is that every image is editable code. So this gives you a precise control to move, edit, or change a specific region without destroying the rest of the image. So they currently rank as a second on overall big image arena. But what they do is instead of generating the whole image, they generate the components of the image in and encode it as a code. So if you want to change the specific part of the image, just select those region and it will change those without changing any other part. So it will help in consistent image generation while you just want to change some kind of part like a clothes or emotions or anything, something like that. Now, as we are talking about the image generation model, so Ideogram has also launched his Ideogram 4.0, their strongest model yet, the best open weight image model in the world right now. What it excels right now is its accurate text rendering and native 2K resolution with the background transparency. So, and the best part is they have released the open source version as well. So you can download the weights, fine tune on your own data, and run it locally, which is perfect for the designer and team who wants a full control and privacy over your designs, typography, poster, and anything related to it. So you must give it a try, and the results are pretty insane. Now, last but not the least, the Microsoft have announced their full stack of AI tools under the Microsoft AI models, which they called as MAI models. So they have launched mainly 7 new models. The one which I want to talk about is their image generation model, and which is pretty good. And they have ranked second on the LM Arena, which is higher than Nano Banana. So I have personally tried it and I have found it so useful. It's so realistic. It follows all your prompts, and it gives pretty insane results. And you must try if you are into creative field and all. So yeah, that was pretty much about from the AI news part. I'll just quickly hand over mic or stage to Kanchi. So hi Kanchi.
Nishita has asked what's its name. I think it's MAI, Microsoft
It's MAI Image 2.5. You can just go on the website called as MAI Playground, where you will, on the left hand side, there are all these 5 models. You can select the MAI image and just explore. I'll quickly send those links as well.
Awesome. Thank you
Yes.
so much. And those were absolutely phenomenal, and every single update is worth trying. Now, before we get into the exact workflow, let me just quickly show the video that I ended up making, and then I will show the behind the scenes content, how exactly it got into production.
I've heard some really talented HRs have applied. I'm quite excited.
If I'm the HR of Flightbase, I'll ensure that we have the best Rangoli in town.
I'm the best fit for this role because I have a certificate from this renowned recruitment platform. If I am hired as an HR at Flightbase, I'll give you all unlimited paid time off.
But we already have that.
Our HR hunt didn't go the way I expected.
If it were easy, we'd be doing it wrong. We're not filling a seat, right? We're looking for someone who's a lot more than just an HR.
So that was it. That was basically entirely made with AI. I have absolutely no background in design or motion graphics or animation. But the fact that like every single frame looks like it belongs to the same environment, having that kind of character consistency, having that kind of environment consistency is the hard part. And anybody from the audience who has tried their hands on video generation would know how tough it is to get the characters to say the right thing, or like for the graphic style to stay consistent throughout. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to share my playbook in a way that not just this, you can not just replicate the video that I made, but make any video that you can imagine, from user generated content for your products to product explainers or similar videos for hiring or social media in general. You can make anything that you can actually simply imagine. And the funny part is that video generation is actually not as difficult as it may look from outside. It has a very simple workflow. Any video, if your LinkedIn or Twitter feed is filled with AI videos, you should know that behind every single video you're seeing, there's the exact same workflow. Now, people may use different tools or different variations of this workflow, but at the end of the day, the core of it remains the same. That in order to create good AI videos, you need to create good AI images. That is the single most important step. And 80% of video generation, 80% of AI video generation is simply getting clarity of what you want, and not jumping into prompting and like making complex and descriptive prompts, nothing like that, but just having clarity of what I want every frame to communicate to the audience. That funnily is the hard part. The whole process you can divide basically into these phases. Once you ideate exactly what you want, you produce the script and the storyboard. Now, if you don't know what a storyboard is, I'll get into that. You define what style you're going to pick, like what kind of graphics you want, or even if you want it to look realistic, that's something you need to define. And then you create the base images. This is actually the most important section, and I'll cover like a lot of time. I'll give a lot of time to explaining why this is important as well, because creating images is really cheap. Like on ChatGPT or Nano Banana, you can create like order of hundreds of images for absolutely zero cost. But creating AI videos is far more expensive. Every time you create a video on, let's say, Veo, you waste 20 credits. On like Google Flow or Hitsfield, you end up wasting like almost 70-80 credits. So that's the reason why, like, if you're confident about what video you want to make, which comes from the base images, it becomes a lot easier to, or a lot cheaper, and reduces the frustration that comes from like not knowing what's going to come at the end of this. So let's begin from the very beginning, or the script or the ideation basically of the HR video that I made. So here I've pulled up my initial chat. Yep. This is my original chat of.
Yes, it's not visible.
Okay,
now it's visible.
Okay. So this is my original chat where I started ideating. I simply said I want to make a video, and I'm going to be discussing everything in this chat so that it has that set context. Now here you can see that like I had this idea that the hashtag is going to be more than an HR. I had a basic idea of like, it's election season in India right now. It was back in 2025, and I wanted to make it topical. And I basically gave a base idea, rough idea of like what I want out of this video. That like maybe one person comes and claims that they're the best fit for this role because they have a certification from a recruitment platform. I had chunks of ideas that like, hey, it's election rally sort of thing, and like people are voting for somebody, and people come one by one to give their pitch. That's like basic idea I had. But now like there are like, I just told ChatGPT, see, I am not a filmmaker. I am not an expert at this, but you are. And I told it like, this is a one-time effort. This is an experiment for me to make a video for the first time. I don't need to create a repeatable template. This is a one-time effort, and it's just an experiment for me to learn video generation. So I learned different parts of it, and I learn it from you, right? this is where basically ChatGPT starts ideating with you that like, who are we doing this for? What is exactly the idea, and what do we want the audience to feel? And it has now created like basic like scene description, like in scene 1 what should happen, then this person comes, what do they say? So all of that is like base idea is clear. So I say that okay, I like it so far, and then of course like few corrections in the script that I wanted. This is of course like very very custom, so I'm not going to go inside it, but like you don't want to trust it blindly, is all I'm going to say. It's going to have a lot of gaps, it's going to have a lot of like crazy ideas, so you want to ground it according to like how you want the video to come out. Now okay, now it has created another version of the script based on my feedback, and I said that okay, let's log this as our base script. Now the next step should be to create a storyboard. Storyboard basically is if any one of you belongs to a filmmaking background, you would know that a storyboard is basically a visual depiction of the entire script. So while we can say that like, okay, somebody comes on the stage and they're wearing XYZ things and they are saying this, how does that look? Where is the camera placed? How close is it? Right? Do we need a B-roll for it? For example, in my video, when the first person comes in, we have a B-roll of the photographer, we have a B-roll of the person tapping the mic. Those kind of things you want to capture within the storyboard. And that is the storyboard is, while the script is the director's weapon, the storyboard is kind of the cinematographer's weapon. And this gives, why is this important as a step, is because it gives a lot of clarity as to what is going to come out at the end. And I would say like, if you're at the end of this webinar, if you're going to try your hands on a video, do this first. Like you will really thank me for it later, because it reduces so much frustration and gives you so much clarity on what's going to come out. So storyboard structure ChatGPT has created here. So it gives you frame by frame. Scene 1, wide aerial view of election rally, visible stage at the center, crowd gathered facing the stage. So these kind of like visual cues it will create for each frame, right? And now I have again said that like in each frame I need some corrections. So of course, as I said, like one shot, it's not going to come out well. The most important learning I had while making this storyboard is, now look at my prompt here. It's not a storyboard because it has too much random context. Around them, basically around the audience, disappointment is visible. A smile drop, someone leans back. Like all of these things are possible in video, but within a storyboard is just images or frames. So it's not possible to have this much context within the storyboard. So I said that storyboard has to be very specific. I said which angle is the shot taken from, how close is it. Descriptions like it's an extreme close-up or mid close-up or whatever. And I said very clearly, I'm not an expert in cameras or framing or shots, but you are. So you need to define those things in a way that a storyboard artist would need their brief, right? So now is when it starts creating like a really good storyboard, and it defines every frame according to how I want it. Now this prompt is basically what it has created in order to generate a storyboard. If I paste this prompt in ChatGPT right now, it will create this exact storyboard for me. That there are 2 grids or 3 grids with these many columns, and each grid is like basically a frame that is going to be a part of the video. Now I think finally I have something concrete. Now that I know that every frame, what I wanted to communicate, the other hard part is defining what the styling is going to be like. If you're anybody like me, you will geek out on what kind of visual style you want to go for, because there's just so much out there, right? So I basically started with like creating this Pinterest board of which all directions I could like visually take this in, what kind of lighting, what kind of textures, what kind of a visual environment is it going to be. And this is exactly where I started. Like probably I was researching like how a stage could appear. I knew that I wanted to make it very colorful. I want to make it very jazzy. And this is where I started. And then started going into like different styles, like I found out some characters that I could possibly use. Now, the interesting thing here is now you know like what you want each frame in your storyboard to look like, but you can try it. You can try the same prompt of a storyboard with all of these different styles. So that's exactly what I did. So basically what I did was I found a cool image on Pinterest. I was like, okay, I like this design style. I don't really understand design enough to like, generate this like technically, but I can ask ChatGPT, what is this design style called? And then it gives me a whole description of what the lighting is like, what the textures are like. I did the same thing for Legos. I understood like different design styles. And basically, so for example, Lego style, I really like this style.
That tab is not. Yeah. Now
I'm
it
so
is.
sorry. I'm so sorry. So yeah, if you look over here, this is what I'm talking about. That this is the graphic where I don't exactly know how to produce this. So I just asked ChatGPT, what is this design style called? Same for like Lego style. I was really liking this style initially. I thought that like my election rally thing could like look really cute like this. So I just told this is a parallel chat, separate chat, where I asked. I want the exact same colors and lighting. Can you give me a generic design prompt? By that, I mean, if I use this design prompt, anything that I describe will be created in this Lego design style. And I say in Hindi, मतलब मैं उसको कोई भी यूज करके कोई भी सीन AI से बनवाऊं, but वो उसी वर्ल्ड का दिखना चाहिए. So this is how my chats look like, English all through and through. And then this gave me basically the Lego World cinematic prompt, and I did it for like multiple different visual styles. This chat is all about that. Now, how it translates is basically. I now used my storyboard prompt that my original chat gave and then combined it with the Lego design style. And this is what I got. So now I have a pretty concrete idea of like, okay, this is what the story could look like. And if I go back to my original chat, actually, you know what? I'll just show you guys what other explorations I did. So there were a couple of different styles that I was exploring, and I wanted to make it look more Indian, so it gave the man a turban and a mustache. So these are the kind of like basically the same. These are like really quick generations, like one shot generations. Now that you know what the storyboard is going to be like, that's why we worked so hard to get the storyboard right. Now, if in any style I try this, it's going to be pretty much the same storyboard, but in the design style that I want. And then finally I came to this. This is called claymation. This is the design style that I became instantly fond of. I was like, yeah, this is the direction I want to go in. I gave up on my Lego idea because like this was super duper cute. And then finally, this is where, give me a second to load this. This is where basically all the magic began, because once you have, now I know what I want each frame to look like. I know what style it needs to be in. And this is the part where I can finally start generating images with a lot of confidence about what I'm generating, with a lot of confidence or a lot of context about, hey, this is exactly what's going to come out when I prompt AI. So I am just pulling up the chat where I started generating my base frames. Yep. So here we are. Actually, so this tool is Higgsfield. If you have explored it, you know how amazing it is. If you haven't explored it, you need to try your hands on it right now. Like all the credits, all the I know it's a little bit expensive, but it's super worth it. So you can see that I've tried to generate the same storyboard. I knew that I wanted claymation style, but I was trying to generate it in different color schemes as well. So I've tried doing it's the exact same prompt of a storyboard, but like just tried in different color schemes and styles. And yeah, finally I had it. I even tried it in a outdoor environment. Finally, I stuck with the storyboard that I had shown you guys over here. Right here. This is what like I was fully confident about. And then the base frame actually came out of this. So I have given this, the storyboard, as a reference to Higgsfield over here. And my prompt is attach to the storyboard, and I want a single frame from the storyboard. And you have to be true to the colors and texture in it. And now I basically have described exactly what this frame is going to be like. I wanted the base, like the foundation of the environment, which is our stage, where every person is going to come and talk. So this I got the prompt from my initial chat where I was discussing the script, and I just pasted it over here. I gave it the Flightbase logo that like you need to paste it like right on top of the stage, and this is what I got. And I was absolutely in love with this. I was like, the colors are beautiful. It has maintained consistency of the texture, and the Flightbase logo has come out so well. And this is where the journey began. Now every other frame that came from this. So you can see that I actually tried to generate like a few versions of the base frame itself. I wanted to add some flower pots or something like that. So actually this was my final frame basically. This is where I came after just editing. Now this is the most interesting thing that I did. It's the multi-shot feature in Higgsfield. Basically you just click over here. If you are on any image, let's say I'm here, I click on open in and I click on multi-shot. So this is basically it will create from a single image, it will create 9 different versions or 12 different versions of the same environment, but from different angles and different close-ups. So that this gives you a lot of ideas on like, where could you take this idea? You know, you have the base environment, but what about the details? What about the close-ups? And a lot of times we are not able to think like this, but getting that visual input is also just enough to get your creative juices flowing, right? And I basically use the base frame to generate my other base frames. Basically, okay, now what the audience is going to look like. Even the audience is just use the attached image as I have used my stage again, and I've said that like I need the audience for it. So this frame exists in the same physical claymation world, same lighting and textures and handcrafted feel. And like I've described what the audiences should look like, and this is what I get. Of course, like there are failures, there are failed attempts, there are a lot of them, but I always say that like you are only going to use 1 out of 10 generations at the very best. That is also like, I mean, if you're really lucky, 1 out of 10 generations is like a really good number. So don't get afraid of like bad generations. It's just about trying different models, different prompt iterations and stuff like that. And I've done basically, now I've gotten some more keyframes, and now I've generated more multi-shots to get ideas. So actually the photographer shot that came in my video, that was actually an idea that Higgsfield gave from this multi-shot. And yeah, so there was a lot of iterations that I did over here, again, like multi-shot over here to understand, oh, like this is an idea I got, like if I show a close-up from behind, that would be a really interesting. Like these kind of B-rolls make your video like more interesting. They really make the audience a part of the environment, and like audience should basically stop questioning how this video was made, or audience should basically stop questioning why basically the nitty-gritties of the videos. Instead, they should just get absorbed in the environment entirely, and these are the kind of like small things that help you do that. So you can see that I created the mic shot over here. Now I would recommend, like, Higgsfield is obviously like one tool to do all of this, but it's not the only tool. So I can show like I generated a lot of my base images in Google Flow as well. Google Flow is the best way to use Nano Banana and VO as well, because it gives much better output than Gemini. There's a lot more control. Like, for example, over here, you can define how many generations you want per output. You can define exactly what aspect ratio do you want, which are not the kind of things, the kind of flexibility that you get inside Gemini, right? So again, like coming back to Flow, I used Flow to generate some base images and some videos as well. And there was, I'm trying to find out like, so you can see every single part of the video has its base image generated one way or another, either in Higgsfield or in Flow, or I even used ChatGPT images. I just couldn't pull up the exact chats where I did that. But yeah, like everything came from that foundation of the stage image. The stage image came from our storyboard, and the storyboard came from our script. And having that level of clarity at every stage is what helps you move forward faster and with less frustration. Now, coming to how now you have the bank of all of your base images, how exactly are you gonna animate it? Like, how is that good enough to make a video? This is where like the funny part comes in. As I said, like making the video is actually one of the easiest parts of the AI video gen process. Now that I have the base frame, I literally just said the man that is walking towards the podium, I gave these two things as element. This is the dude, this is the character, and this is the stage. And I just said that he is walking towards the podium, should technically walk towards the podium of the stage. So his background should be the background of the stage in the second image, and the man himself should look the way he does, like he should not change. And gave me a pretty decent output.
I'm thrilled to be here today to talk about what it means to be more than just HR.
And I'm not kidding. I give such like horrible prompts when I'm generating videos from base images, because like AI is really good at understanding the context of an image and then animating it. There are a lot of AI tools where even if you just give the base image and not even give a prompt, it will do something interesting with it. So same for almost everything I have generated like this. I can show you a couple of more examples. Okay, we've seen how flow works. Now I can show you basically, let's take an example from another tool. So I have Grok in front of me. Grok is also one of my favorite tools when it comes to video gen. I don't know, I think that a lot of people don't know about it because it's always, they've not marketed it well enough. But let's take this frame for an example. Like I wanted this guy to talk. This is our third character who's basically very chill, and he says that like, I'll give you unlimited paid time off. I put this in Grok's Imagine, and I literally just prompted, man says, if I'm hired as an HR at Flightbase, I'll give you all unlimited paid time off. Basically, like, be as lazy as possible in your prompting when you're converting images to videos, because AI will understand what you want. And it's, oh shit, I was not sharing this, kya? I didn't need to tell me that. Basically,
If I am hired
you
as
were
an
able to see
HR
this video, right? Okay. ठीक है. So yeah, basically I just said कि if I'm hired, man says this dialogue. And the thing is that a lot of times we try to like overcomplicate our prompts. I would say overcomplicate your prompts or like over describe what you want when you want a good image. But for a good video, the more you over describe it, in my experience, it always messes it up because it's not able to retain that much text. It works a lot better with image input. And that's also one of the reasons why I never go text to video. Like it's one of the things that is most prone to failure. And save your credits, like unless you have something that, unless you just want AI to like just do its thing, like unless you want something totally out of the world and want to see like what AI is gonna shoot at you, that's the only possible avenue where you should actually use text to video. But in all other scenarios where you know what you want, go from image to video. Another one of the tools that I used was LTX Studio. Even though like this is not a tool that I would highly recommend, I did not get good enough generations from this, and I ended up not using anything from here. But I have heard that they've improved their video models since I last used them. The interesting thing in LTX Studio is consistent elements. So you can always just tag an element. Now, this is something that they've added in Flow as well recently, but I was experimenting with this feature specifically over here. So I made a character of HR dude, basically this yellow guy, and then I added an image reference of the stage, and that's how I got these generations. So this is an interesting thing to explore of consistent elements. So if you're, let's say, if you are showing the same characters in multiple scenarios, if you're generating let's say a fashion brochure or something like that, then it's gonna be a lot easier for you to do this, because it's gonna keep your character consistent or element consistent, essentially. So yeah, that's the whole idea. I think I also used Kling AI while producing some of the generations, but I would say again, like instead of I've just pulled up my Kling as well, like some of the generations came from here as well. I think one of them was this one that I really like, that Kling made, and ended up using it in the edit. If you see this one, I just said, man walks on the stage confidently and reaches the podium, with the start frame and end frame as him walking and him on the podium. So there are, like, I mean, all of these like n number of tools that you can try. So far, I have listed, like, I'll just say it again. I have listed Google Flow, where you use Nano Banana. I have listed Grok's Imagine, LTX Studio, and Kling. Like, these are the 4 tools. And the main playground for me is Higgsfield, because at the end of the day, you get access to all of the latest image gen and video gen models over there. And what is most important is you get a lot of like different workflows as well. Like, maybe we should do a different session on just all the different features of Higgsfield, because their cinema studio, their marketing studio, their supercomputer, now they have also added a node-based functionality. So there's a lot to explore over there. But instead of, my suggestion would be, instead of subscribing to all of these things like separately, just go into Higgsfield. One subscription gives you everything. And then finally, once I had all of these base clips ready, is when I finally came into Capwing. And this is basically my editing timeline. Like, all of these different clips I have used from all my generations. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, so these are all the clips that I use from my generations. And then some of them had audio, for some of them I had to add AI voiceover as well. So Capwing has this feature called AI voice, where you can just give, this was my, towards the end, I have a dialogue that says, our HR hunt didn't go the way I expected. That was generated within Capwing, because the original video that I had created had a very like blabber audio, blabber sounds. It wasn't real dialogue. So I just added it over here. This is one of my favorite features. And then it also has like a lot of stock audio, stock sound effects. So let's say I wanted photography, paparazzi sounds over here. So this is actually a stock audio that I just got from Capwing right here, like sound effects, and then you can just search for anything here. And this makes our job a lot easier, instead of having to, go and look at libraries of sound effects and visual effects and animations and stuff like that. That's why I really like Capwing for editing. Now, editing, of course, like, this was a little bit manual, but I have not tried my hands on the video editing tools, the AI video editing tools that Aryan just mentioned today. So I did it the traditional way. Of course, there's like a lot of things that you can automate in editing as well, especially motion graphics and stuff. But this is like, I mean, in my opinion, it's a decent enough place to start. A lot of people also use like CapCut, and like there are a lot of these like very basic, like beginner level editing tools that you can start off with. And I'm sure like this is not going to be the hard part. Like, you can just go to one of the YouTube tutorials for editing. And that's all. Like, that's exactly how I got to my end output. There were like 4 or 5 different versions of this edit before I got to my final one, but this is the entire flow. And if you look at it, this is exactly what I followed. I ideated, made the script, made the storyboard out of it, defined the style. Of course, Pinterest came to the rescue, generated a lot of base images to get clarity, and finally animated all the base images that I was most confident about, and then finally edited them. And I'll just quickly walk you guys through like a quick recap of every single stage, so that like you know what the key takeaways are, and what are the common mistakes that you can like that people would do in every stage. So while you're ideating, you need to tell the LLM to critique your idea, not just execute it. Like, tell me why it's bad, tell me how I can make it better, tell me how a world-class filmmaker would do this, right? Every single frame must serve the narrative. 2 to 3 script iterations minimum before locking, just so that you know you can imagine your idea in multiple different ways. That's all. And then while generating the script, one of the most common mistakes that people do while generating the script is they will only look at dialogue or voiceovers that they want, and they'll call that a script. But that is not your script. A script is what defines every single frame, and like not just what's said but also what's shown. So you need to make sure that your AI is doing that for you, creating a version like that for you. And you need to lock the script before touching any visuals. Like, I would say, of course, like you can experiment with like the visual style and everything beforehand, but I would say the most effective way of doing this is you know exactly at what time you want the script to do or the video to do a certain thing, and that's basically your Bible for the rest of the project. And yeah, think in frames, not paragraphs. Basically, again, like ChatGPT is going to give you a paragraph full of like, it's going to have a lot of jargon and like things that are not going to be useful. So you need to think in frames, like every individual frame, like I said, which basically the thing that becomes important in storyboarding. Now, so for storyboarding, one of the most important things to keep in mind is to have a neutral narrative blueprint. By this, I mean that don't allow your LLM to give you actions within the storyboard. That, like, as I said, my ChatGPT did like a smile drops or like someone leans back. Like that cannot happen in a storyboard, right? It needs to be very, very neutral and very objective. That this is the angle, this is how you're looking at the, this is the expression maybe, this is what the person is wearing. Very, very objective. As I said, like short angle distance framing, no vague emotions like disappointment is visible. Like, make it as specific as possible. Then once you have your storyboard, you can obviously like explore your styles first and make your storyboard based on the styles you like. It's a very creative process, of course, but the benefit of following this process is that you will be able to explore your exact storyboard or the exact story you want to create in hundreds of different styles before you say yes to one, before you commit that, like, okay, I'm going to spend all my credits, time and energy into producing this kind of video. So this kind of style exploration is like, just Pinterest is your best friend. Like, spend a lot of time on finding out what looks good, you know, what world class looks like. And of course, like as I showed you earlier, that ask you don't need to know what every style is, but your ChatGPT knows it or your Claude knows it. So just ask them, and ask them to describe it in detail enough that essentially you know all the lighting and textures before you generate it. And from the storyboard, the base images will be created, of course, like one base image per frame. What I would say, as I said earlier, that like 1 out of 10 generations is going to be a good enough base image. So produce a lot of them, produce 100 different types, even like experiment with your storyboard from different angles using the multi-shot feature in Higgsfield, and use the first frame or the environment, not just the first frame, but the environment of your video, where the setting of the video is, as the DNA of everything. Prompting video models with text instead of reference images is like the worst thing you can do with your credits. So I'll just reiterate that once again. And then, yeah, finally, the final step is animating. Use any of the above mentioned tools to animate your base frame. And simple prompts beats detailed ones is what my experience has been. And don't stick to one model. This is a very common mistake, that like, okay, I've heard that Seedance is very good, so I'll only use Seedance. no, like you have to try everything. You have to try Kling, you have to try VO, you have to try Grok. Otherwise, you will never know what could actually come out, and you'll be reiterating on the same mistake over and over again. And final edit, I will leave it to you guys as to, because this is still like, I would say I was not able to crack it with AI, so I'll leave it to you for your own manual versions of this or AI versions of this. And I hope this was helpful. I know I extended the time a little bit, but I hope that everything I shared was helpful, and I hope to see the community building something cool out of this. And please be sure to, if you actually got something out of this video, please be sure to share whatever you make in our WhatsApp channel.
Now we are open for the Q&A, so feel free to ask however questions or how many questions you have. It can be dumbest question as well, so it's okay. No one's gonna judge you. So you can ask the dumbest question as well. And we do have a question. So Akshay has asked, have you tried anything for realistic looking human with Indian languages with good lip sync?
Sorry?
Akshay has asked, have you tried anything for realistic looking humans with Indian language with a lip sync?
Yeah, actually, I did try something actually, I'll just show it. Why not? I actually made something for a friend, which was, so they're making a startup for eye care, and they needed a little bit of help for their video generation. Let me just pull it up. And I would say, like, no matter, like, it doesn't matter what, you can see my screen, right?
Yes.
So you can see that, like, it's an Indian woman with cataract, and I have image consistency, character consistency over here as well.
Profile of each patient's eye. The process begins with
a lot of attention to detail. So I would say that, like, do not constrain yourself to thinking that, like, AI can only make animated videos well, or AI can only make XYZ well. Whatever video you want to create, the process for it is exactly the same. That those 7 steps that I shared with you guys, that is exactly what I followed to make this video as well. And one of the things I did differently this time to get so much character consistency was also use this tool called VVAI. I think they've rebranded to Veev.ai.
Yes.
Which is basically a node-based function. The way you use your n8n, the same way you can use Veev. And you can basically create, like, different versions of the same image very easily. And that was one of the things that I used to get this, like, auntie's character straight, and, like, get a close-up of her eyes, and, like, different angles of the doctor and hers interactions. Yep, that's Aryan has sent the link to that. Then I think
what's the biggest mistake people make when animating AI generated images?
Again, not having enough clarity, and clarity, you can't have clarity if you're not a designer. You've got to get clarity from Pinterest. Like, there's no other way, or except for giving good enough references. Even if you look at, like, Life at Flightbase, that's my website, there's a lot of consistency in the Lego style, or, like, the Game Boy themed graphics that we do. It's only because, like, we have a huge bank of references. There's a whole Pinterest board of, like, just that style and nothing else. So that, like, anytime we need to generate a graphic, there's at least, like, a broad idea of, like, hey, can we try this? And I would say the most common mistake that people make while generating images with AI is they'll just try to describe it themselves. Like, hey, there is this happens, then this happens, and then AI is just gonna give you complete slop, and then it gives you such a long description of the image that you're just like, hey, just generate it and let me know when it's generated, instead of, like, giving it, like, very clear direction as to what you want. And when it gets generated, then it will have those, like, HULs going everywhere and stuff like that. Do not do it like that. Always have references.
Now, Jared has asked, what techniques help reduce common AI animation issues like flickering, morphing, or inconsistent motion mainly?
Yeah, there is no It's just it's luck based. You have to iterate with different prompts and different models. At least that's what worked for me. Actually, I have a lot of confidence in saying that because with the same prompt and the same model can give you different outputs each time. It is like extremely unpredictable, and that is the reason why like you need to keep 4 tabs open, one with Grok, one with Rio, one with Higgsfield, that like somewhere some way you're going to get the right output, like and you have to try it with like 2 or 3 different styles of prompts, and if it's not coming out right, just ask your LLM that this is the problem that's happening. What should I do to fix it? What should I what prompt should I give? One of the things, like I was actually facing a lot of like lighting issues. Like so when I said that like I want my character to come on the stage and like photographer is clicking their pictures. I want them to have flashes on them, like the way paparazzi would feel, right? But then it just started creating fireworks on the person. I was like, no, I don't want this, I don't want this. But then I could not get that context out at all, no matter how hard I tried. So at some point, I just gave up and I just like recreated the image, recreated the prompt, and started from scratch. Like sometimes that's all that you need to do.
So next question is, how much time did it take you to from ideation till the final edit?
I would say 2 days. It took me. Ideation, actually, getting an idea is the hard part, I feel. But I would say like getting the right idea must have taken me like at least a day. And then once I was like, okay, I want to do something with elections, I got like a basic idea of like I want one HR to say something about Rangoli, I want somebody to say something about certificates, because that are like the common stereotypes that we hear. So once I had that, then like the ideation chat that I showed all the way to the edit, it was 2 days for sure, and a night of course in between. But yeah, like I would say like my hack is that I never get stuck on one generation. I would say that's like my holy grail. I would always have 5-6 tabs open. I would be experimenting with different things while, let's say, while ChatGPT is generating an image, I would look at different styles, I would look at different prompts and stuff like that. So that's why it optimizes time a lot.
Abhishek has asked, how much did it cost to create this? It might be difficult to tell, but an estimate would work.
I'm sorry, Abhishek, but I have absolutely no clue about this. I would say though, images were entirely free. Even like Flow ke andar Nano Banana is absolutely zero cost. ChatGPT images are zero cost, of course, like if you have the Pro subscription. Videos are something that are expensive, but I won't be able to answer this question because there was just so many generations, and like every generation happened via a different model. So every model costs different amount of credits. So can't answer this.
Okay. Shreya has asked, what's the largest story that led to poor AI generated videos?
Storyboard mistake would be one mistake of a storyboard could be that you are not covering the entire video. You are just focusing on one part of it. Another mistake could be not generating enough storyboards. As I said, like you're not stylizing it enough, or you're not coming to the you're not experimenting enough with the storyboard. So that would be another mistake. And the third and like most common mistake, I think in my opinion, would be letting storyboard be AI slop. Like, do not, storyboard is your holy grail, it's your Bible, it's how it's like one of the most important things that you should work on. Spend enough time on it. I feel that people don't spend enough time and directly jump into generations because that's the fun part, but you have to do a little bit of hard work to get there, and don't really just trust ChatGPT to make whatever, or like don't take a bad storyboard for an answer, you know. Like I said in my presentation as well, like don't just because ChatGPT is going to give you a stupid storyboard in the first go by saying that like giving motions in the storyboard, like this person moves their hand. Like, no, storyboard can't have that. It can have this and it can have this. It can't have the movement. So you need to be very, very clear that like your storyboard is going to produce something good. And of course, the text version of it and the visual version of it, you should have enough clarity with that.
So, Atharva is asked, what are your suggestions for API-based video generation? For example, if we use API for OpenAI, the maximum time of video generation is limited to 8 seconds. If we stitch multiple 8-second videos together, it loses its consistency.
Actually, API-based video generation should only be a thing if you have a video generation tool. If you have, if you want to use video generation inside your product. But apart from that, I don't think it's a good idea to be using API-based video generation because one, you'll end up wasting a lot of API credits, and two, it's a lot more technical to be doing it this way. If you want to produce films, if you want to produce content, I'm pretty sure you're asking this because you have an n8n pipeline where you have an API of the video, but instead try Higgsfield MCP. I have not tried it. Aaron, have you?
Yes, I have tried it basically, but one suggestion I would give is it will end up you iterating more and more videos, because in the manually if you are prompting and then generating the videos, you have a lot more control in your hands about how the video should go. But in API based generations, where you connect it through your CLI and ask him just make this video for me, it will generate directly an AI stock, which won't be of any use. You just like mentioned, like if you try to generate 8 videos and stitch it together, the consistency is not there. So that's the main thing, and it's way more expensive than the manual thing. So one of the person which asked like how much cost it took. So that is the thing, like API based. And even if I talk about the Higgsfield MCP, which they have launched right now, they end up taking so much credits right now. And if you just look at the output of those API generated videos, it's literally a trash, and you need to iterate more than 10-15 times, which will cost you a lot of tokens, and eventually it will empty your pocket. So there is no use of going through this. Like right now, it's not AI is not that much good so that it can iterate on itself. It can generate prompt itself and then generate a video and give you a polished output just with those kind of things. So
with video gens especially, it's not one of those things that you can automate entirely. But otherwise, it would be interesting to know why, like for what use case were you asking this for? So then we can give better suggestions.
If you are creating an avatar basically and you want to create a talking head videos, then it's a good option, because then in one go it will give you the best output if you've connected with the HeyGen APIs and their MCPs. So it will give you a perfect output, because you just have to generate a talking head video of a person of some news and all. But if you want to generate it for this kind of short films, product launches, then there is no use of using those API kind of things. But for creating avatar and creating content with those avatar, it's a pretty decent thing to make, because you have a full pipeline where the script to video, the end-to-end is generated, and because we don't have to iterate in itself, because the hard part is manual editing after the avatar has created the kind of a video which you want to share or a news, some kind of a thing. So that's kind of a thing.
And Atharva, again, like feel free to like share your use case. In the meantime, Nishtha has asked, can you please share the links of all the tools you're using? Nishtha, I have shared the link to my public artifact, like basically the presentation that I gave today. It has mentions of all the tools and the entire workflow. So absolutely feel free to like exhaust it, customize it according to how you want. And which tool is best for, Rupesh has asked, which tool is best for generating realistic character videos with audio and proper lip sync? I think VO is the best at this, but I have to give credit to Seedance as well. Seedance has gotten a lot better in the latest update. unfortunately, I have not gotten a chance to explore with it, experiment with it, but I have seen some insane productions on Twitter with Cdance single-handedly. So in my experience, VO Cdance according to like the latest trends, which I have not tried.
And there are a lot of lip sync model available as well, like vid.io and lip sync, like the model itself name is lip sync. So you can use those video models as well. Like you can just give your script and give your video which you want to lip sync and give your audio as well. So with that audio, it will lip sync that video with you. So you can try out the vid and all models which are available right now.
Yeah. Atharva said, the centralized AI-powered platform for marketing agencies to streamline client content creation, enabling the generation of images, videos, and other creative assets from a single hub. See, this is like a super technical tool, and it's going to require a lot of fine-tuning. It's not just like giving a API call and it all works out. It's going to require, so for example, the way let's say Claude design works, right? Like, of course, it's using the same API calls of like artifact generation or something, but the design taste, that is where like the beauty of it is. So the same way, like, I'm sure like it's beyond us to like get into that kind of technicality. So I don't think like this is the right place to discuss that.
And I'm not sure if you have used Hixfield in the past few days or not, but they have something called as Marketing Studio, and they have a lot more features kind of this. And recently, like few days ago, also they have launched this kind of feature where you get the whole brand guidelines, the brand kit for a founder to launch its product. So that's the thing. And few days ago, they have also rolled out a template kind of thing where what do you want to do is you have to just give the link of your product or your website or any services based if SaaS it's. So it just generate automatic videos out of it from that single link. It research on your own and do kind of thing. I haven't tried it yet, but if you are trying to achieve those kind of things, Hixfield is already providing those under a single hub. So that's what you should try it out.
But there are other tools as well. I mean, like if you're building something like this, I would be super curious to know how you're building it, and like of course keep sharing it within our WhatsApp community, so that like we can also like be your first users and give you feedback. And this guy SDGS admin has asked any AI tool for the editing of video. I think Aryan, you can take this up.
So I would say there is no one tool which can entirely automate your video editing, to be honest. But there are few tools which you can try. One which Kanchi showed, the Capfing kind of thing, where there are a lot of features where you can clone your voice. They have also have a feature called as agentic video editing. So what it does is basically if you give him the raw video and ask him to cut the silences, remove the pauses, add the text wherever it is needed. So it does those kind of job, enhances the voice and reduces the noise. So this was one of the tools. The same kind of tool is a Descript, which is another useful tool. The one which I showed today, Motionfly, it is also one tool. Then there is a one tool which is called as the usecardboard.io, but which is a paid tool. It is a much more advanced tool. So what it does is you just need to provide him all the raw videos, even if you have 100 GBs of the file. So it analyzes each one of the videos, and you just need to mention what emotions do you want to drive in the videos, what kind of video do you want, in the first 15 seconds, what do you want, a montage kind of thing, fast-paced, slow-paced. And once you give all this prompt, it makes the videos right away. And it's pretty much good. Like I tested it, so it's pretty much good. So you can try out a usecardboard.io.